Hello, I'm Chris Maxim, a composer based in London. About 4 years ago, Paraclete Press did me the honour of inviting me to make a video about myself and my music. And now seemed a good time to update that video. This follows the really exciting announcement that Paraclete's library of organ music is going to be distributed in the UK by Church Organ World. And it's particularly good news for me, as Paraclete publish most of my organ music. But I'd like to begin today by talking about 3 of my more recent choral publications from Paraclete. All 3 of them are Christmas pieces. The first, Hurry to Bethlehem, is a lively piece with lilting compound rhythm. It comes in 2 forms, and both of them are available in the volume that you buy. First of all, there is the setting for SATB choir with organ accompaniment, and then towards the back there is a, I suppose, simplified version for unison voices with optional descant towards the end, and that has a piano accompaniment. But the piece is even more versatile than that, because in fact you can perform either version with either accompaniment. The piece has worked really well both in carol services and in concerts. Next, The World's Desire sets words by G.K. Chesterton. The Christ child lay on Mary's lap. And it's a series of 4 very short verses. In the first, the sopranos sing a monophonic phrase, and then the verse is finished off by the 4-part choir. In the second verse, the sopranos sing the first phrase again, but this time they're accompanied by the altos before the choir comes in. In the third verse, the music's given to the tenors and basses with a slightly different harmonisation before the choir comes in, and then finally the choir sing the entirety of the last verse. There are some divisions towards the end, but I think it's fair to say that this music is accessible to choirs of moderate attainment. It's not too difficult. Many church choirs will find it very much within their grasp. Finally, the Jolly Shepherd is a rather more substantial piece. It's mostly very lively and energetic, but it has at its heart, at its centre, a quite meditative section, and there are opportunities for soprano and tenor soloists. It does require a very skilled organist. It's not a terribly difficult organ part, but you do need an organist with a very good sense of rhythm. I think it works really well in concerts. I know that from experience, and it also is entirely suitable for carol services as well. Indeed, it was commissioned by a church choir in London for one of their carol services, and they went on to record it on CD. The piece has also been broadcast by a different choir on the radio. So if you fancy a bit of a challenge, the Jolly Shepherd is highly recommended. Now I'd like to say a little bit about 3 of my organ pieces. First of all, my 11 chorale preludes. As the title suggests, the number 11, they were inspired by Brahms's set of 11 chorale preludes. But I should say these are very much not pastiches of Brahms. While you might spot within them certain nods to Brahms, in the same way as within Brahms's chorale preludes you can spot nods to Bach, they're very much my own music. There's a variety of moods within them, and they touch on different sort of, you might say, spiritual themes and aspects of the liturgical year. They work well as a concert work in their entirety. I've performed them as such. Individual movements work well in concert, and individual movements do work very well as voluntaries. Most of them are relatively quiet, although some are lively. They're generally still quite quiet, apart from the central piece, which is a chorale prelude for Easter. That's certainly a much louder piece at the heart of it. You can hear me perform all of them on YouTube should you wish to hear how they go. Next, my recessional. It was composed, well, really quite a long time ago now, back in 1996 for the wedding of some friends, and it was only more recently that I just made a few little tweaks and polishes to it and submitted it to Paraclete Press, and I'm delighted to say that they wanted to publish this after all of those years since its composition. It's got really sort of crunchy harmonies. In some respects, I suppose you might say it's a little bit angular, but it very much was written kind of as a wedding march, and it's a useful, I hope, voluntary at the end of services, as well as being suitable for recitals. There are tunes there too. Although I say there are crunchy harmonies and some angularity, it is most certainly not a rebarbative piece, and hopefully it's a piece that you might find yourself whistling some of the themes from afterwards. Finally, another really quite substantial piece, my Prelude and Fugue on the name of Duruflé. As its title suggests, this was inspired by Duruflé's Prelude and Fugue on the name of Alan. Like Duruflé took Alan's name, the letters of his name, and turned it into a musical cipher, thus deriving a theme that he used within his piece. I've done the same with Duruflé's name and derived a theme which is used in both the prelude and the fugue. You'll find that the prelude is structured in a way that mirrors really quite closely the structure of Duruflé's prelude. And when I came to that, or trying to mirror that wonderful moment in the Duruflé where, as if by magic, the theme from Alan's most famous piece, Litanies, emerges, I was faced with the challenge of, well, what's Duruflé's most famous melody? And I decided that probably the theme that I would certainly most associate with Duruflé is not a melody that he wrote himself, but rather the melody Ubi Caritas et Amor, thinking about that gorgeous choral setting of Duruflé's. And so in my piece, at the corresponding moment where in Duruflé's piece as a homage to Alan, the Litanies theme emerges, here it's Ubi Caritas. I've had the great honour of this piece being played multiple times in a whole range of venues by the organist Dr. Anthony Gritton, who is head of undergraduate programmes at the Royal Academy of Music. So it's been heard by many people, and I'm pleased to say I've been flattered with some extremely positive comments about the music, and I hope you would enjoy it too. Anybody thinking about buying it to learn to play, it's not super easy, but what I can assure you is it's quite a lot easier than Duruflé's Prelude and Fugue on the name of Alan. And on that note, I would just say that with my choral music, I've always performed it, and with my organ music, I've always played it before it's gone to press. So I know that the pieces are singable, and I know that the organ pieces are playable. I hope that you also would find them interesting and well written also, but the organ pieces, for example, may have challenges, but they do fall under the hands and feet. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you enjoy exploring my organ music and my choral music. Do take a look on YouTube, where you will find a range of performances. And thanks again to Paraclete for all the faith that they have placed in me over the years, and which I hope will continue to be a very fruitful relationship between composer and publisher. Thank you.